Seydisfjordur looks like it was carved out just for boats. As you sail into the fjord, the mountains close in around you, and you get these waterfalls dropping down the sides before it opens up to the dock where we're tied up. If you'd asked us 5 years ago before this adventure started if we could see ourselves here, we would have thought it was crazy. Sailing our way to the east coast of Iceland was no easy task. Picking up from where we left off in our last episode, we were continuing to work our way around the north coast of Iceland. The wind didn't die down like the forecast had predicted. We were still seeing around 30 knots, which made rounding this part of Iceland a hard no. There wasn't exactly anywhere that we could pull in, so instead, we slowed it down completely, floating at about 1 knot. We just hovered between these two offshore islands. The tricky part in stopping here was that there were shallow patches all around us and the depths would vary quite drastically. We didn't have a lot of room to drift. We were basically sitting ducks out there. We needed enough of a break to be able to make it around that northern point of Iceland to get to the anchorage we had planned for the night. We bobbed around for about an hour before the wind eased up enough for us to continue onwards. There was a weight that was lifted when we were finally tied up for the night. We didn't realize it at the time because we were so focused on the sail and the weather, but we crossed into the Arctic Circle. Another milestone in our sailing careers reached. We ended up pulling into Raufarhavin, which is a small village. It looked pretty ominous. And the weather definitely gave it an end-of-the-world kind of vibe. There were some Icelandic horses around, but really, not much else. Next morning, we were off again. We had 114 nautical miles ahead of us to reach our last stop in Iceland, which will be on the east coast of the island.
Just about to round Langanus, I think it's called. It's this big finger off the northeast end of the island. It's kind of a pain because it seems like we had to detour about 6 hours to get around it. Not detour, but if it wasn't there, we'd go straight through. But yeah, now we get to round it and hopefully put these big swell behind us. Because unfortunately there's no wind right now and we are motoring in massive swell. Not fun.
It's getting a little later in the sailing season here, being mid-September. Weather windows are pretty slim, and you have to find a forecast that works for two completely different points of sail. One that favors us sailing along the north coast, but also has to line up with our turn down to the east coast. This meant we were taking whatever tiny windows we could get and trying to cover as much distance as possible, knowing that we'd have to sit and wait before being able to continue on with the next leg of our journey.
Yee-hoo! We got some wind. Sky's brightened up. You can see land in the distance. Fantastic. Dude, almost 10 knots. Luckily, we do have, I think, 2.5 knot current with us. But the sea state is very calm, and we are moving. But at this pace, maybe 2 hours away. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and keep this speed up. We'll be there in we'll be at the entrance of the fjord in maybe an hour and 10 minutes or a little less. And then it's about an hour motor down to where we're going. We're only a mile off the coast. We are going to be heading straight down to here. Down to that one. Well, I was really hoping not to have to come into this fjord in the night, but I think we made quicker ground than we estimated. So now I'm having to enter this fjord at night. It's 4 in the morning, so hopefully, by the time we actually get down there, it's probably going to be light. Have the radar on, so that'll help. What I also like to do is add my distance estimator, and I'll put it to land so I know actually how close I am. Because if you kind of just look at that, you have really no idea. So when I'm coming in, I'll add my marker and I'll go, oh, I'm 0.4 nautical miles away from that point of land. And I'm a mile and a half from that point, and then that just gives me a better idea of where I am, roughly inside the fjord here.
So happy to have made it to our last stop in Iceland on the east side after going around the north coast and just trying to make as much ground as possible. We're finally here. There's a sense of relief because we can kind of chill for a little bit. To be determined number of days with weather before we hop over to the Faroe Islands. But yeah, we're here tucked in a little town in the fjords, home to about 700 people. Still kind of a busy area considering how small it is because you still get the cruise ships here, and there is a ferry line that runs to Denmark and I believe Tórshavn, the capital of the Faroe Islands. And you can like bring your car on the ferry, so it's a main connection point. But yeah, very pretty even though it's foggy. Like there are waterfalls everywhere, and I think that's largely due to all the rainfall we've been getting. We've noticed that the waterfalls have really filled in, like there's a lot more water coming down the hills behind us, or I guess the mountains. This dock that we're at is a new dock, which is nice. So you don't get the big industrial car tires, you still have these big rubber bumpers that will leave a scuff, but it is a nice smooth wall. And we've got electricity, we've got water.
Got everything we need.
Yeah. It was a good thing that did we mention that we did laundry at the last stop? No, like 2 stops ago. Anyway, we got laundry done 2 stops ago. There's none here. I didn't check. Is there fuel here?
I don't know. It might be a bit far.
Yeah, because this dock is kind of a ways out of town. Town is in there, which is about 1 kilometer of a walk once you go all the way around. I was very looking forward to visiting this town because there's a picturesque little spot right in the main strip. Seyðisfjörður itself is small, just a few hundred people. It's got a grocery store, a couple of shops, a couple of restaurants, though very expensive, like these $28 cocktails. That's pretty much the whole town, but it's got a lot of charm to it. Look! We got it all to ourselves because the cruise ship passengers are gone. And the sun came out for us, yay! It's a beautiful day today.
Oh, today is really nice right now. Needed this.
Yes.
It's been doom and gloom for like a while.
Yeah, oh, this Rainbow Road is the original Rainbow Road because they're all over Iceland to like honor Pride. It's also a very picturesque one leading up to the church with the backdrop of the mountain and the sun hitting the mountain. It's just really, really quaint, picturesque. Oh, look what else we got to ourselves. That's a first.
This is a first. These things are popular items.
These trampolines. They have them at every town. Is it dry though? This is a really high one. That looks really cool. Wow. That was a big one.
Oh!
It hurts my leg. Since we were stuck waiting for weather, we tried to make the most of the sunny gaps. We took in the views of the fjords and the waterfalls. The scenery did not disappoint. And really just enjoyed the few calm moments that we got. This dome-like structure up on the hills is called Tvisongur. It's an art installation built to echo the Icelandic five-tone harmony. It's like a concrete igloo thing. When the wind moves through the chambers, it actually changes the pitch, which is super cool, and a fun little hike up from the town. Down in the bay, we could see that there was this ring in the water that we thought was a salmon farm, but it's actually an effort to contain the oil that is still leaking from a British oil tanker that was sunk back in 1944, the SS El Grillo, that sits at the bottom of Seyðisfjörður. It carried bunker oil, and after it was attacked and scuttled, oil spilled into the fjord. Back in the early 1950s, 4,500 tons of oil was removed. However, due to corrosion and new leaks reappearing, oil still escapes into the water to this day. As the days passed, we saw the weather starting to shift. The first bit of snow showed up on the mountains. We still tried to get out and hike when we could, but you could feel the change. We noticed the clouds hung lower, the rain rained colder, and the wind picked up. More snow built up as the days went on, and the mountains around us turned fully white. It was pretty neat getting to experience Iceland in what felt like two different seasons. When we first pulled in, everything was green and mild, and now suddenly we've got snow creeping down the mountains. Seeing our boat with that snowy backdrop was really one of the coolest parts of being here. It had been so long since we had seen snow on the mountains. But we were also wondering when we'd actually get to leave. We kept hearing the same thing from locals. If you're in Iceland in October, you're not leaving. And we started to see why. We're trying to get to the Faroe Islands before it's too late in the season and gets too chilly. All we could do was watch the weather, look out across the bay, and hope our chance would come, and soon. If you've made it this far, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And hit subscribe if you haven't already. It actually makes a huge difference for us in our channel and lets us know that you want the videos to keep coming.